Hi, my name is Patricia Wald-Hopkins, and I am here today to talk a little bit about my experience with Radhaa Publishing House. I call myself a modern mystic, and the reason I do that is I am an artist, but I'm also holistic um, medicine woman and a scientist. And so the modern mystic is all about blending the art and the science and realizing that the art piece is huge in being able to really do anything to invoke that creative process, that muse. And so the modern mystic for me is all about the fusion of the art and science to come up with creative solutions um, just for well-being, it can be used for so many different things. But I really have felt that claiming that I am an artist has been a critical piece of me stepping more fully into the soul work that I came to do here as a human in this lifetime. And so I also love to create digital art contemplations, and I paint and I channel messages from multidimensional realms. And this has all been part of the expansion of my voice through writing and through speaking as I delve deeply into my body of work called Voices of Gaia, which I have been developing this 9-step initiatory pathway um, to usher in heart-centered leaders of New Earth consciousness by embodying the frequencies of 8 archetypes of New Earth consciousness. And that's the peacekeeper, the gatekeeper, the miracle worker, the light bringer, the visionary, the lover, and the entertainer. And the reason that I'm sharing this and why it's relevant is that this initiatory pathway is all about learning to use your voice, your leadership voice. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to need to go out and be a leader in society. It might just be about being a leader in your home or in your business or where you work or, in the community in some capacity. But it could mean that you need to be up on stage. It's all really just based upon your design and your frequency. And so I really love writing as a way to evoke the voice, right? And that leadership voice. And so working with Radhaa Publishing House has been part of my own journey, my work in general, the tools that I use a lot to express myself, to help encourage my voice in the work that I do is when, yes, being part of these collaborative book projects that Radhaa Publishing House curates and, using the different modalities that I use, such as the Akashic Records, the Gene Keys, and human design and butterfly healing, which I actually wrote about in one of the books. I've been in 4 Radhaa Publishing House book projects, and it has been so critical, an essential piece of my own initiatory pathway as a voice of Gaia, oracle, and mentor to be part of these books. The books that I have been a part of are Energy Healing and Soul Medicine, Stories of Healing and Miracles. And my chapter is called Butterfly Medicine Healing, which talks about the healing modalities that I use on myself and with my clients. And then I also took part in Awakening Starseeds, Dreaming into the Future, Volume 3, and my chapter was called Stardust Blood, Codes for Harmony on Earth, which was really an exploratory chapter about the cosmic wisdom that is held within my blood, but also as a portal for others to explore what they hold, what cosmic blood codes they hold. And that was a huge area of self-expression that had been hidden away, and working with Radhaa Publishing House allowed me to bring that out. I have also shared a chapter in Stories of the goddess, divine feminine frequency keepers, and my chapter is called Anointing Oils of the Goddess. And this is a chapter where I share about my journey with learning from my interactions with Isis and creating these healing oils specific for activating divine feminine frequencies in myself and in my clients. And so that was a really beautiful chapter also for expressing a part of my wisdom that I hold publicly, which Radhaa Publishing House brought forth, encouraged me, and allowed me to share publicly. And then the most recent book that I've been a part of is called Poems from the Heart. And my chapter, or the poems that I share, is a series of 6 poems that are called Conversations with Gaia. And each one goes into a specific topic about the conversation, a deep, heartfelt conversation that I had with Gaia about, just feelings and things that have been going on with me in my journey through life, and just really wanting to feel that connection to her and to feel the support of Gaia as I walk these next steps in my life, this next part of my journey, as I will be turning 53 soon. And I really feel like I've moved into another part of my life path. And so publishing these books has really been powerful for me. So grateful to Radhaa Publishing House. I have received so many comments and compliments, good comments and compliments from clients and readers, people that I know, and how well I've expressed myself in these chapters in these book projects. And that is like just such a huge success for me, to have a new sense of confidence and purpose, that people recognize me for holding this wisdom. And now I feel reinvigorated to continue to share my wisdom through writing and through books about the healing arts and star seeds and the goddess and poetry from my heart, and so much more to come. And so now that I have these 4 books, I also use them to supplement the work that I do with my clients to aid in their transformational journey. So it's almost like a little toolkit that I created by putting my wisdom into these books. And I think it's just been such a useful way to document my journey through life and to have it stored in a way, that I can share it forever, right? Even when I'm gone, it's a timeless form, when you put it into a book, regardless of what happens to whether everything goes to digital or not. It's stored somewhere in the collective consciousness now that I've released it out there. And for me, that's a huge, huge success. And it would not have been possible to do this without Radhaa Publishing House, giving me the means and the platform to document this wisdom so that my legacy would not be lost. And I have to say that when I first learned about Radhaa Publishing House, I just knew I wanted to be part of the book projects that they were putting out. I mean, the topics just resonated so deeply with me. Like, I just knew in my bones that I wanted to be part of the collaboration. It was like absolutely really no hesitation, because I just was so passionately connected to the topics as I shared with you, what they were. It just definitely in the areas that I am called to share my wisdom about. And so really, for me, all it took was making that commitment and to go the distance, regardless of what obstacles show up in my life, in my daily life. I have, like many of us, we have a lot going on in our daily life, and you have to make space to write and, to truly make it a devotional practice. I have, 3 three kids that are still in school. And I also have a full-time 8 to 5 job, and I have my own, spiritual wellness business. And so I'm a busy mom, a busy lady, and I love my life and I love to be active and outside. And so it was like writing had to become just as an important facet of my well-being as these other parts of my life. And so that has been what I have had to overcome, was to create space for my voice to emerge as a published writer. And I'm so grateful for Radhaa Publishing House to create the sacred container for this to happen for 4 times now. And I so much see how this commitment, this devotion to these book projects has helped my unique voice emerge. And it also has brought a new quality to the way that I write, the way that I experience writing for a project. Before, I came at it with more fire, I would say. And it was more of like, it just, like all of a sudden, just like it just came through. There was no gentle or introduction into it or anything. It would just come through me, and it was actually quite exhausting for my body. And so that might have been, one of the reasons that I hesitated to devote time to it, because it didn't really feel all that good. And so the more that I've spent doing these kinds of projects, the more I have found this flow with it, and it feels more feminine, a more feminine flow. And I like linger and luxuriate in the creative process more. And so it feels nourishing and enriching when I sit down to this process, this creative process of writing for books. I mean, I write a lot. I mean, I write in journals, I write all kinds of things, but this process of actually working on a project that's to be published, it's in a book collaboration, it is a commitment. You're not just showing up for yourself, you're showing up for the whole project. And I really have felt a shift in how now it nourishes me. It's not a drain on me. And so I want to show up for it. So that has really, really shifted in my life. And the fire is still there. It's just I use it in a more channeled, an efficient way so that it doesn't burn me out. It's like, okay, I get to that point. Okay, now this just has to get done, and it gets done. But there's this great body of nourishing energy around that whole process so that I'm not depleted. And let's see what else I want to say about that. I really also feel that writing in these books is just a rich journey of self-discovery and deep connection to that creatrix that lives within me. And I'm just so happy to have made that deeper connection, because like I said, it really nourishes my life. And I feel that once I recognized that I actually had a contribution to make to the public, and didn't just keep it inside me, I felt a new sense of purpose and connection that I didn't have before. So it's really opened my heart in many ways. And I know that it's important that I have a community voice, not just an internal voice that I keep to myself in my prayers or in my meditations or even in my small circles. It's important for me to share aspects of myself with the greater collective, because we all have a weave that is important. And I know that my contribution at its core is full of love and the intention to support others into their journey to wholeness. So another thing I want to talk a little bit about is writing challenges beyond that devotional space for it. And it's related to that fire aspect in a way, and it's all about the writing wanting to come, from my mind, not my third eye, but my brain, my mind, like wanting it to be logical and fit in a certain way and have a certain agenda. And while all of that is useful in the framework, in many styles of writing, it's not always appropriate. And it's definitely for me, not a way to truly get into the deeper essence of the wisdom that I hold. But, the facts are I've worked in, scientific fields for over 30 years. And, I was trained to be a scientist and trained to write from the mind, very specific, all facts in a very orderly, linear manner. And that's what works in that field. But there was a part of me, and even ever since I was a child, that longed for the storytelling and for the language of the heart. And so it really was a challenge for me to drop into that space. But working with Radhaa Publishing House allowed me to drop into that space and to bring that deeper wisdom from my heart out of my journals and into public writings, in a way that was meaningful and could contribute something of value to the collective. And so it really helped me to find a greater purpose for my expression by contributing to a book project. I really, really enjoyed the author incubator sessions. And I fondly remember, it was a tender one for me, but I fondly remember one session in my most recent book project with Radhaa Publishing House called Poems from the Heart, where we were brought into a deep energetic healing space. And I just remember, around healing the throat chakra. And, tears came to me, lots of them, deep, deep-seated grief. I don't think it was necessarily even mine, right? It wasn't. It was part of my ancestry, my lineage, and it was a part of my throat chakra that had been blocked, and a part of my soul that was longing to be seen, that had been hidden away because of shame. And so this was a really profound opening for me, this experience opening in my throat chakra to begin to feel comfortable sharing the gifts that have come through my lineage around magic and spirituality. And so these tears they were profoundly magical and spiritual, and they were tears of freedom and tears of joy, that I could express this now. Wasn't exactly sure how it would be expressed yet, but I could express it now. I would be able to feel comfortable doing it now that that block had been removed. And so that was just a really big breakthrough in the incubator sessions for me. I also want to share that the incubators have a way of really inspiring my writing muse, because it sets the sacred space. You're rooted in you're in community, so you can feel the vibration of other people who are also being creative. So it's like this synergistic effect that brings forward your voice, right? It feels held, it feels seen, it feels honored, and you can feel the momentum of the others doing the same thing. So it's very, very powerful. And it brings a sense of comfort and confidence to sharing and being recognized publicly for your writing, right? Putting this out there in the world. And that can be incredibly, scary. Especially when you're writing about things that maybe are close to your heart and are tender, or things that maybe you haven't shared before. And I know that it really has shown me that when I share from that place, when I get into that place in my heart, and I feel confident sharing it. What comes through is authentically mine, and it's from that place of authenticity that the most powerful messages can come through, and that whether or not everybody gets it, they feel it and they feel the truth, and it's that energy of truth that is transformational for others who experience your writing, as well as myself. As I experience the expression, it transforms me. And as I feel the transformation energies of the other authors in the incubator, that also supports that transformation to a more authentic expression of my voice publicly. That's a big stretch, right? I may have been writing for years in my journal or on notepads or here and there or hiding it here and there, right? But to do it publicly is a big, big shift. And so I really enjoyed and benefited from working with Radhaa Publishing House and communities. The network of writers, I just love them. There's so many talented artists, just inspiring to witness their journeys to becoming a published author. It's just so encouraging and it feels so supportive. And to feel the cooperation, the cooperative energy in the field is really incredible. Like, you don't know these people at first, but then you really get to know them, and it's not at a superficial level. It's at this creative heart-based level, and so it's very, very strong bond. And it's a commitment to work together towards a larger vision. And I really felt that was beautiful, to shift from not it just being about the I and getting my stuff out there, but it was like, oh, my contribution is part of this larger vision of the book project, which has a deeper impact on the collective. And I really love being part of groups in that way, to contribute to something larger. And that could be that, if you know astrology, my North Node is in Aquarius. And so it's about the fellowship, of humanity rather than just the one, and creating that benevolent tools and experiences to support everyone. And I think that this coming together in community creates an impact on the world that is a quantum leap. When we come together in our heart space, in the heart energy, the heart field, the impact on the collective is quantum. So this is a really beautiful way to have a positive impact on the world. And I can see how, even if you're working on an individual book, being part of these communities of writers that Radhaa Publishing House has, it really it aligns you with something larger, right? And in that way, you are supported within this field of a larger vision for positive change. And I think that's really, really beautiful, and one of the things that's very attractive to me. Along with, that I have connected with so many new people, like exponential growth, right? With people that are heart-centered, which is something that I'm all about. And it's helped me to make these connections that I probably wouldn't have made otherwise. I definitely wouldn't have made them, not with this certain group of people. And they're just such a blessing. And it has really supported my vision to be a writer, a published writer. The co-authors are just so supportive. And, we're all going through our own things, and we all just hold space and trust that we are going to bring forth our writing and bring it together into this book project. And the book project is going to be published, and it's going to be shared with the world, and it's going to have an impact, a positive impact. So being in a circle of authors is definitely going to bring, I have experienced this anyway, you feel like you're glowing just because of the love and the light and the support that is shared within the community. So I would highly recommend working with Radhaa Publishing House, because you receive not only the individual attention you need to publish your work, but you clear blocks around your writing, right? Writing from a deeper, more authentic space, but also blocks our own visibility, being publicly visible. And so that author incubator is really key to participating in these book projects, to be able to bring out the best in everyone, because you're creating, they're together collectively, but Radhaa Publishing House is curating this safe and inspiring space where you feel free to share from that level of authenticity. And I highly recommend Radhaa Publishing House because they have a roadmap, they have tools, and they put them in your hands, and they show you, this is what you need to do to get, recognized publicly for your work, including, interviews and written and video. They tell you how to do it. And you need that because you can just write it, but you also have to make that engagement with the public, which is challenging for many. It has been for me for years. It's taken me years, 4 book projects here, to be sharing at this level with you all about my journey. And it also has shown me that again, that devotion, that commitment to showing up is, and the discomfort that may come with it is outweighed, by the satisfaction of becoming a published author, about making a difference. Like there's growing pains, but it's worth it. You're at a new level of mastery as a published author. I have also noticed for me that, not only the confidence in my writing has increased, in my authenticity in my voice, but I have discovered the quality of my voice, through the 4 books. It's like, oh yeah, I like to write about, magic and spiritual things. It's actually, that's what I love. And that's part of my unique frequency. And so that has been a gift to me. I've learned to write from my soul rather than from my mind, as I mentioned, because my mind censored so much out, because it's like, oh, that's not going to be taken seriously, or maybe I didn't say that exactly the way somebody else would want it to be said. So there's all these rules and things and structures, and really get in the way of you expressing what your soul wants to say, what your soul came here to express in this lifetime. So I really moved beyond that block, and I'm grateful to know that I like to write about magical and spiritual things. And the people that read my work will be tuned into that, because they'll feel that frequency. It'll be true. And those that are not into that will not be called to read my work. And that's okay. And I've come to be comfortable with that not everybody is going to like what you write. That doesn't mean that you don't write it. That has been a huge lesson for me, is that you write it anyway. You write it anyway, because ultimately it is for your well-being. It's to nourish your spirit, your soul, and to create beauty for others as icing on the cake, right? But to know that when you are sharing authentically, whether or not everyone gets it, you're being a way shower for others to do the same. And I really feel like that's a beautiful, wonderful path to encourage people to get on. So the supportive environment of these book projects, these incubator sessions, has given me courage to step into visibility that otherwise probably would have felt totally overwhelming, too challenging, and pretty much impossible if I had tried to do it alone. I wouldn't even know where to start, right? I would have just been like throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying to figure out how, and just not supported, alone. And I think that the way of the lone wolf is complete for me. And I think it is in general, in many ways, for the collective. We've moved into that community-based working together. And it's always been there, community-based groups have always been there, but they're more important now, especially for people who are bringing forth things that otherwise they may have felt shame around sharing, because of the old paradigm structures or the patriarchy and things like that. So I really feel like it's brought me and others to a next level of mastery and visibility and self-expression that I would not have had support for on my own. And it's also created more of this presence of unity consciousness and the power of the whole, like the bigger voice that we're all contributing to. So, in closing, my biggest takeaway from my work with Radhaa Publishing House is to trust yourself. The biggest pearl of wisdom is to trust that your voice matters. Your contribution to the world as an author matters. Trust that you have a unique message to share with your readers that will inspire them to step onto a path of their own authentic expression and free themselves from the oppression of any past traumas that have kept them hidden or reluctant to share their own voices. I say, do not let others censor or silence your creativity or your voice. Let it emerge and grow stronger each time you're willing to share it, especially as a writer. Trust that you have the power as an author to be a way shower for others to use their creativity, their unique voice, their writer voice to improve the quality of their lives. Trust that there are communities now that foster authentic expression, like Radhaa Publishing House, where you have a place to feel safe and at home and supported in your creative expression. I highly recommend collaborative book projects as a transformational journey of your soul. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Radhaa Publishing House. Many blessings to you all.